Hi there, here is Christina from Changing Parenting, and in this video I want to show you how I went from being a screaming mom to being a parent coach. And actually I still scream at my son sometimes. Not something I'm proud of, but something I want you to know. And the reason for that is because there is this idea that positive parenting is just for like Zen moms who have everything under control, and that's just not true. We all have these instincts of we want to raise our children through love and connection. That's why we became moms also, right? And then we have all this pressure from outside, just punish our children, punish, slap them, punish, put them in timeout. And you feel like you're being a bad parent, so you don't want to do that. And what happens very often is that you just end up being very permissive, because you are trying to empathize and you are trying, I don't, and then you end up, going to the opposite and becoming silently authoritarian and be like, you will do as I say, and screaming. And this cycle, this is what I, really like to help moms with, because it doesn't have to be like this. And I don't do that anymore. And I want to show you how you can do that also, because it's all about finding what's causing your child's behavior and addressing that by teaching skills. And I know you want to do that, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. So let me help you do that. You don't need to be a Zen person. You can also go from being a screaming mom to, teaching your child skills. And I'm going to tell you a little bit what was my turning point. How I realized, I have to change. My son was about maybe like 12 months, and he was just throwing food on the floor. And I screamed at him and I was like, stop this, why are you keep throwing food on the floor? Stop it, you know how much work it is, all those things. And then immediately my brain was like, why am I screaming at the person I love the most in the whole world? Why am I screaming? It's just, I knew in my heart that everything he was doing, and also because of everything I've read about childhood development, and I'm also certified as an early childhood positive discipline educator, so I specialize in ages 0 to 6, so I know a lot about childhood development. So I knew that what he was doing was developmentally normal and good, actually. It's, the children throw things on the floor to see if they are still there when they look, it's just a normal thing. And I was like, I shouldn't be screaming, and I am. Therefore, I must be an awful mom. And that is so not true. And today I know that it comes from my lack of social emotional skills at the time, and that I needed to develop those skills. And you can also do that. It's not like there's something wrong with you or that you are broken. Probably it also comes from the way you were raised yourself. You were not raised with positive parenting, most likely, and therefore now you really struggle to positive parent your own child. But the same as had happened to me, that I was getting all this advice, give a slap on the wrist, they will stop acting like that, or you need to punish them, or all those things. And I knew in my heart that was not true, that I just needed to teach skills, and I just didn't know how to do those things, and I had to learn. And again, I got all these certifications and I learned how to do all these things. And then I realized, I think this could really change the world, because if my parents, when I was growing up, if they had maybe someone like me, like a positive parent coach that taught them from a place of non-judgmental, like really, I understand why you are acting like this, and that comes from your own childhood, and help them with those skills from within, and also help them understand my behavior, and that what I was doing, what children are doing is not because they are trying to deceive you or trying to be naughty or just being mean kids, but instead that it's what comes from it, what's the developmental stage, how their brain is developing at that age, and all those things, and taught them the skills they needed to teach me and how to teach me those skills. Today I wouldn't maybe be screaming at my child, and it doesn't have to be that your parents screamed at you. For instance, my parents never screamed at me, right? But they were authoritarian parents, just like most boomers were authoritarian parents. It comes also from the way they were raised, right? And they were great parents, and I'm not saying that like we are blaming our parents for this. I love my parents. They gave me amazing gifts, and they were human, and like all human beings, they made mistakes. And it's our job now as parents to parent our children in a different way, in a better way. That's how humanity evolves, right? So if you want to learn how to positive parent your child, and you were not positive parented yourself, and you are struggling a bit with all this self-regulation, with understanding why your child is behaving like that and what to do in order to transform the behavior, check out changingparenting.com.